When we are a startup, surrounding ourselves with the right people is really hard. We often want to trust our gut feelings, but our gut feelings is only able to get the intention of the person we have in front of us, which most of the time is positive but not objective. In other words, our gut feelings cannot predict if that person will do a good job or not. That's why in today's episode, I'm going to share with you the key questions to ask to your first potential startup employees. Hi and welcome. I'm Amaury, founder and CEO at MyCTO Frame, where founders come to learn how to build their tech startup. With this Startup Snack series available on both podcast and YouTube, we want to share the essential to make it easier for you to build your tech startup. And I recently did another employee interview for a startup I coach. And I noted that most of the questions were the same than the last time. I always use the same type of questions. And before sharing some of them with you, let's dive into what we do really need to evaluate during a job interview with our potential first employees. The first things we need to evaluate are, of course, the skills, then the value and mindset, the motivation, and the personality. And I really like to start with the skills right from the bat because sometimes we try to get to know that person. We might be convinced directly by his or her values, mindset, motivation, or by her personality, skipping the most important part of the evaluation, which is knowing how to get the job done. And I've seen that mistakes many times in the past. And I did it myself too, several times too. So first things to evaluate the skills. So here are a couple of questions that you can ask. Like, what similar tasks did you add to do in the past and how this experience is going to help our company? Or where do you see yourself in 5 years and how this job will help you to get there? And I think it's really a deep question, this one, because as a person, we all have a goal in life. We all want to achieve something, either a financial goal or either a lifestyle goal, etc. And asking that person to be aware of its own goals will help you define if yes or not, your company will really help that person to reach that goal. If that job that you are offering them, her or he, his, is going to really help that person. So that's a very important question. Next, can you describe how you handle tight deadlines? And here it's all about evaluating if that person is able to do some good project management or not, because I do believe that that's the type of skills that everyone needs to have in a startup. Next one, what do you think about are the required skills in order to be successful in that position? Because you as a CEO or manager, you have your own opinion about the required skills, but maybe that person have another perspective. So that's interesting to know what are these other perspectives. Another question, what are the methodologies and process that you recommend in order to meet the company's goals? Here we are evaluating their knowledge and how they can apply that knowledge. That's why we have the following questions. Can you describe an example of a past situation when you've put in place that methodology, one of the methodology they mentioned? And especially when you add a tight deadline, that would be interesting to see how they apply that. And next, I really would like you to evaluate the mindset and the values, because not everyone is equals, and that's going to make the huge difference after the skill set, is to really know if that person is willing to challenge herself or himself, to be transparent, etc. That's definitely the type of mindset and culture we need to look for. Next, can you describe a past situation where you were particularly, and then you put the specific culture or mindset, like transparent, for example, despite maybe that it might not be the easiest things to do, because sometimes we just need to do what's right and not what's the easiest, especially with transparency as example. Next question, what steps do you take when making decision? Or what's the biggest mistake you did in your professional career, and what did you learn out of it? And here the goal is to evaluate if that person is really willing to be objective about himself, so that he will maybe be more objective about your project. And last but not least, what motivates you in life? What do you have? Do you have a morning routine? That's really my personal touch, because I do believe that the way we wake up on the morning will define the way you're going to achieve things during the day. And if that person have a morning routine and like to do specific things in order to be ready to go when it's time, I do believe that it counts, really. And the last question, knowing that we are interviewing several candidates, why do you think we should choose you? That's the type of question I also recommend you. And last, this time, personality. I do believe that we need to know each other. So here are the type of questions that I like to ask, which is, what do you need to keep your life balanced, as example? And I do believe that it's important to know ourselves before being able to help others. And that's also something that we need to evaluate in someone that we will work with on daily basis. Other question to ask, do you have a hobby or a passion that you could talk about for hours? So that's important to get to ask that question. And another question following, which is, can you teach me the essential of what you've learned about that area, that passion, that hobby in just 5 minutes? Here, it will help you identify how this person behave with a real passion, with a real hobby that she or he love, and compare that to how he's motivating with the job that you offer him and how he talk about that job. So in conclusion, hiring the right type of person is hard, especially when we are a startup. We need to seek to find the right balance between the right skill set, the values and mindset, like transparency, objectivity, evaluating the right type of people that are willing to get challenged and getting out of their comfort zone. It's a must when we are a startup, for sure. Of course, we need to evaluate if they are really motivated by the job and what they will learn by doing it, because the paycheck should not be enough and should not be the main reason. And last, I do believe that we need to know a bit each other when we hire someone, a bit of that person's personality. Because one day or another, you will disagree on something for sure. And that personal connection will give you the empathy. You will need to understand the other point of view. If you enjoy learning with us and want to see more, just consider subscribing. If you want to learn more, hit the like button just below. And if you have any question or also want to suggest any topic, feel free to comment down below or to check our website to join our program. I will see you there.